Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks in another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're
Battle
taking a look
paused.
at another
Battle
relatively
started.
low level game, low OS game
Battle
here that was
paused.
played on a very
Battle started.
interesting map. Wow, apparently a lot of pauses and starts right here as we get underway in today's match, a match that was played on Project SD129 version 1.0. I actually had it pulled up on the side because I knew there was absolutely no chance I was going to nail that name on the first attempt. It's the donut map. For anybody that might be unfamiliar, it's the it's the map that's shaped like a giant donut. And today, spawning as our blue team leader right up here on the front line, it's gonna be none other than the one and the only, the Snidely Whiplash, clocking in at 31.45 open skill and setting the bar quite high above the rest of the team here. About 20 or so open skill higher than the next following commander underneath them. So yeah, we're, a little bit high on the ranking here for the blue commander, but I was very excited when I was taking a look at the replays here on the Discord to see that over on the other side, lined up directly against the blue commander, is going to be our red hero. None other than Prime Hybrid, clocking in at 27.37 open skill, and going to be playing with my beloved Legion. Look at that beautiful commander. He's a little bit backwards right now, his torso snapped in half, but other than that, looking quite fab. I just can't get over how beautiful this model looks. Legion really put to shame the core and Armada models, didn't they? You can kind of tell that the dev team realized how fantabulous the work was on Legion when they immediately started reskinning all of the core models, and then now even some of the Armada models, with the Armada Lazarus actually receiving a little bit of a skin update. Very, very cool stuff. I think, it's one of those things that drives progress, right? You see how cool something else is, and you're like, oh, by comparison, yeah, we need to fix that. What to say about Project SD129? It feels good to take a look at this map because, we really don't get an often opportunity to have a real close, in-depth look at what this map plays out as. We played this map in particular a lot on stream. Usually we'll play it with bigger than normal teams involved, so 10, 12, 14, 16-ish players. You can cram a bunch of people on this map because there's tons of different metal spots all over the place. But in this case, in an 8v8, it does mean that there's lots of opportunity here for shenanigans. Lots of room for metal, lots of room for harvesting, lots of room for a bunch of damage, and so I'm glad to see that we do have a couple of units now headed across, well, already across the map, and going to be trying to pick off some of these units here. Yellow Commander MC Hammerdad, the yellow commander, breaking it down, bussing it down for us here with an incisor. On the other side of the map here, slowed down quite badly by the terrain, actually. As you can see, this entire terrain face is on a slope. Maybe easier if I, go like that. You can see it's at a sort of a agreed angled slope right there, so it does mean that the tanks are not actually going to move at full speed until they come around to the other side of it. But there we go. The incisor does crest the hill, and now it's moving at top speed towards the back line. Gonna find the Powder Blue Commander's air cons. This is a risky gambit to go for air cons first. I mean, you need an air player, but typically the air player is right here, AR Tech 13. As we can see, the orange commander here, Black Pearl, goes into air. Typically that's what we see on this map, but not the case here for the blue team, who's decided to tech a little bit differently, and now all of a sudden it does look like Cheese Balls is a little exposed. The other interesting thing, of course, about this map is there's absolutely zero wind speed, which does mean that you have to rely on solar panels. Oh, okay, well. Hey, if we're gonna kill it, we may as well just kill it and eat up the metal, right? I mean, that's a free 72 metal right there for Cheese Balls. Whether it was intentional or whether they intended to degun eventually or not, at the very least, Cheese Balls will get a little bit of a boost of eco out of it. Nicely done. Meanwhile, a couple of ticks have also found their way across the map right here from the purple commander Landslide.
Commander has died.
Who has question mark OS. However, according to the, I can actually see it over here on my stats page over here, at least according to the stats page, has 16.67 OS. Basically, they're a brand new player, or at least this account is brand new. Raising a bunch of question marks, as always, whenever we see new accounts on the leaderboards, right? Somebody who's very good at the game and also has a brand new account, suddenly some questions begin to arise. But at least for the sake of this argument, yeah, this is a brand new commander who's just, well aware of the fact that ticks are the best unit in the game and they should be sent across the map immediately to try and do some damage. Meanwhile, our blue commander actually stepping up their game as well, sends some ticks across to try and harass down the red commander's metal extractor expansions. And for what it's worth, does a fantabulous job of it. Shuts down those mexes here, kills 1, 2, 3 of those mexes. Quite a lot of metal between all of those here. And of course, as a Legion commander, you also have a lot less metal in general. You have about 20% less metal just by proxy of those metal extractors not producing the full metal payload. In exchange, you get a little bit of energy. One of those biggest complaints that I have, one of those changes that I'd love to see made to Legion is if these metal extractors would produce energy based on the amount of metal that they had coming in. The reason for that being that, for instance, if this was like a 10 metal spot and you were only getting the 8 metal per second out of it, you would still only get 7 energy. As the same as if you built a metal extractor on this 1.7, you're only getting like 1.5 or so of that metal out of it. You would still get the same amount of energy. I don't know. Seems a little bit imba. Mathematically, anyways. It probably doesn't affect the game too much. Not in most situations. Blue Commander here is actually shot down by the Gundam Goblins here. A little commander trade on the northern side. Looks like the blue and red commanders have agreed that they don't want to fight this with their commanders. They're just playing a units-only kind of game, which is cool. Means that we're going to be seeing just raw Legion versus raw Armada. Very, very nice to see. Okay, we're going for Maces. We're strengthening the composition here, but this is a vehicle army for our yellow commander, as we saw earlier. Now going to be going up against a bot army. If there's anything we know about vehicles versus bots, it's that vehicles win. Yeah, almost. I mean, virtually every time. There is one specific way to play bots that does win against vehicles. You have to take really early trades, pile on the aggression, and make sure to have res bots available to either resurrect the enemy tanks or, at the very least, reclaim them and turn them into units, neither of which are happening right here. So the, yellow units are going to go on a tear here. Killing metal extractors, popping the maces right here. Oh, shurikens even pulled to help this composition along. Not bad. And, oh, we get the con on the back of it all as well. Just brutal stuff right here. Air finally gets involved here for the blue team, and they will be able to clean all this up. But my goodness, Brown Commander has also gotten into the fight. We do have a whole bunch of these Phobos, fast assault bots involved now. They do a huge burst of damage for every one of their shots. Well, 2 of their shots out of their little multi-barreled cannon there. And you can see just how quickly they can burst down those units. These catching a engagement at the right angle can sometimes win fights they otherwise never should have had the right to. They don't have a lot of armor, they don't have a lot of HP, they just have a lot of speed and a lot of damage. Means that you can maneuver them very easily, but you can't necessarily engage with them like this. The maces are going to cut them to ribbons, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Okay, Resbotter 2 to get that metal into your bank account. You just keep spamming out maces, and I think this is winnable. Like, I think this is more than recoverable here. This is a nice hit right here, though. The red commander did manage to reclaim all that. We have 3,000 metal sitting in the bank right now. We have to figure out a way to spend it. A battery would be a wonderful option as well, of course, going for more of those advanced solar panels. But no doubt the red commander is now thinking it's time for T2, and I would have to agree. Meanwhile, T2 coming up right here for the green commander in the back line, who's just been raw teching, so this is, you know, kind of stock standard here. Actually, we do have some units on the front line. I take that back. Combat Beanbag has been fighting on the front. I love to see it. Sometimes you get that tech player in the back who's, you know, doing their best to tech up. But oftentimes the fastest route to teching up is to pay for it with the enemy's units. Yeah. Oftentimes that is the case here. Landslide in the killer position to D-Gun. Will we see a D-Gun coming out here from the purple commander? Our eyes turn towards Landslide's comm. Certainly thinking about it. Wow. What a battle. Fabulous. Really fabulous stuff right there. Landslide LLTing down the Centurion. Pardon me, the Karkinos. Little shielded combat bot there. Oh, we have a hive coming up. I'd like to take a second to remind everybody, by the way, that this strategic construction tracker, which we have over here on this left-hand side, is still in development. And the developers actually reached out to me. We're sort of working in collaboration here. I mean, I'm not developing it. All the credit goes to H7 for building the wonderful tracker here. But the collaboration is for you to contribute what you think should be included in this tracker. For instance, do you think a hive should be included in this tracker? Do you think that T2 Labs should be included in this tracker? I mean, obviously those feel like an appropriate one to put in there. Do you think advanced fusions or any of this other stuff should be included? That's kind of the main crux of the identification here. If you have any thoughts on that, if you have any comments on that, feel free to share in the comments down below. I will forward your message appropriately. Mesa's the weirdest kind of anti-air here, but in the weirdest kind of way, it's weirdly kind of working. Crying out for air right here as fighters do eventually swarm so that they will clear out those shurikens. So nicely, now the maces can get back to work firing away. We have a little combination force of thugs, maces, rocketeers, and aggravators all firing away in tandem. And for what it's worth, it's going to be a composition that can easily bring down all of this red army. This is actually a very petite red army. Basically just those goblins, which don't have a lot of oomph behind them. They're more of a threat than they are an actual... They're like an intimidation threat than they are an actual physical threat. Medium tanks going for the wraparound here, though, and they will actually get completely behind the blue army, meaning that this is completely surrounded. Now is the moment for the goblins to engage, because they can not do a bunch of damage, but they can activate that flanking damage, and it means these medium tanks do basically double the damage right now, and that's a huge catch for the red and yellow armies. Little bit of teamwork makes a little bit of the dream work. Beautiful stuff. Good catch, and I have to agree, says Prime Hybrid. Yeah, that was fantastic. Lost all the resbots there for some reason. We kind of just ran them into the enemy. That was a little bit unfortunate, but still, at the end of the day, that's a lot of wrecks well within the red and yellow control here. Certainly, Prime Hybrid and MC Hammerdad are going to be thrilled about the way that that one went. Transport spotted out here in the middle of the map. That's interesting. We got an all-terrain vehicle right here. A little bit distracted by the fact that this guy is just crawling up the side of this like Spider-Man. 6 wheels and all. Spider truck. Okay, very cool. Sometimes you gotta stop and appreciate the roses. It's gonna be basically a stalemate here on the southern side, though. Gauntlet has come up and is now firing away at the static defenses here of Starfisher. We're kind of leaning more and more to these static defenses, just fighting a passive war rather than an active one. Not the end of all things, but it does mean that suddenly this all slows down a whole lot. I love the use of the maces here just to try and boldface break through this static defense line. I think it's going to work nicely. HLT goes down, the jammer goes down, and very shortly here I have a feeling we're going to be watching the Dragon's Maw go down here as well. Putting in some good work, no doubt. Oh, nice micro from the purple commander. Actually pulling back those injured maces, trying to keep those alive. Manages to overwhelm this quite easily here, and with the support from the green commander will overwhelm the statics from Tan. That's going to be Starfisher losing the front line. All of a sudden 2 versus 1, and that pressure is overwhelming. Power overwhelming, one might say. Cons are available out here. I actually wouldn't mind seeing these just used to reclaim a bunch of this wreckage. I don't think we have any more resbots. Loads of wreckage available. We have Decurion tanks. Okay, that's an interesting switch up right here. Not sure where those even came from. We don't have a Legion commander over here. Where did the Decurions come from? I have no idea where these Decurions have rolled out of. Okay, well, anyways, a couple of medium tanks in the back line. Can we get like an LLT or something just to clean all this up? Thugs will actually be sent over here. Nicely done by SDV-12, the Lavender commander. He's going to get in a position to save the blue comm from, losing everything. We lost most of it, but not everything here. At the very least, yeah, there you go. All that metal can just be recycled into a T2 laboratory right away. And we don't want to overflow. Ooh, okay, well, now we're overflowing. Oh, ew, okay. Wasted probably about half of that metal right there, overflowing it, but, you know, better late than never. And it will be just barely quite enough to fund this T2 lab, I do believe. Maybe we need to eat up one more of those solar panels. With the advanced solar panels still up and running, this is not the end of the world. And again, there's more wreckage to be had out here. 1 or 2 resbots could basically save all this. Decurions now sneaking their way forward here, very slowly but very surely. Red cons, rather, moving forward. There's only 400 metal worth of cons, so they've already eaten their value's worth. If they get out of here, it's even better, but even if they don't, they've still found enough value to be worth it. Decurion rolling in. Now, Decurion are curious because they are effectively a T1.5 unit. They sort of operate between the lines of a T1 and a T2 unit. They have the cost of a T2 unit, but they have, or I should say, they have the metal efficiency of a T1 unit, but with the damage and range and HP efficiency of a T2 unit. Effectively is to say they are pretty good. As you can see, this giant army of Decurion is basically impossible for the red commander to stop right now. Having a really, really hard time killing this. I do think these hoplites are the right move, although I think sending them in such small numbers is kind of detracting from their effectiveness. Eventually, though, it is only a matter of time before the Decurion are overwhelmed, and they will be brought down. Now these spider bots, the Proteus, can actually get to work reclaiming and rebuilding and resurrect. Well, they can't resurrect, but they can rebuild anyways and reclaim all that juicy, juicy wreckage, sending thousands and thousands of metal careening into the bank of our red hero. Oh, look at that! A little bit of a massage too. Oh, how cute! I love that. Cons actually have stayed alive despite all the enemy movement, basically surrounding them, perfectly surrounding them. Little fighter plane somehow manages to wander its way into the back line. Not bad. We'll be shot down by the anti-air, but before it's dead, I think it's a nice little peek at what's going on in the back here. A couple of Phobos coming, or Thanatos rather. Man, mispronouncing all of the Legion names. Am I out of practice? Is this Brightworks washed up? Must be. Thanatos here, one of the sexiest units in the Legion arsenal. Firing away a beautiful sounding and beautiful looking salvo of rockets into the enemy's face. Kind of a proto... What do they call the Cortex ones? Catapult, that's right. They're like a catapult, but if a catapult looked a lot better. I mean, that's not fair to say. The catapults are actually fabulous looking. They're just a much earlier form of catapult. One you can get a whole lot sooner into the match. Catapult's costing like, what is it, 6,000? 6,000 metal, I think? Plus the T3 lab. Very expensive.
Commander has died.
Oster's PL has been knocked out here. Commander will be sniped by a whole bunch of Wasp gunships. Not really a lot you can do about that. Those Wasps do a ton of damage, and they are, well, in swarming numbers, capable of bringing those comms down just so quickly. Sabin Sky also in trouble here.
Commander has died.
Manages to blow up probably about 1,000 metal worth of T1 units right there before going down, but still, losing the Commander does hurt. That's no D-guns for T3 units, even if we just have some of those heavier T2 units, incinerators and things like that, that are very difficult to deal with efficiently out of T1 and T2 tech. Sometimes with the Commanders down, that's really all it takes. You just build 2 or 3 of those and you can go for a march that can win you the game oftentimes. And the easiest way to fund it, of course, is just to reclaim all the metal from these corpses. Now the time has come for the march of the T3, paid for in full by this giant army of Proteus, following behind the carnage, eating up the bodies, and of course building the T2 metal extractors as well here. Oh, we've stopped. We've stopped to consider our circumstances here. No T2 yet for the air commander, or rather no T2 mexes. We are starting them, but a whole bunch of unupgraded ones. As we do see the hoplites moving in here. I'm going to call them Striders forever, because I just think that was a better name. But the hoplites are moving in. I don't think hoplites were a fast unit. I think lore-wise, hoplites, like, in the IRL lore, were a slow and sturdy kind of a unit. I mean, a misnomer, sure, in English, but... Anyways, I digress. Striders have hit the blue base. Striders are kind of like Fiends, but a whole lot better. Much more HP. Tons of flanking damage. Much more consistent damage as well. Fiends have a tendency to spray their flame and then sort of miss half of it. Striders suffer a lot less from that. A much more consistent damage output. And there we go. Washing across this northern face. We're actually pulling them back a little bit. Yeah, I think we need to just go. Just send these on their way. They don't have wonderful anti-air capabilities, but it's enough to stop a few shuriken from shutting these down as well. And they're going to continue sweeping away blue metal extractors on the northern side. I mean, this is a resounding victory right here for the Red Commander. It's the kind of advantage that you have to look at and wonder what on earth you could do to throw a game from this position. A whole bunch of hounds have come out here, and they're going to be, well, shot at by a single shuriken drone. Enough T2, though, to shut all this down. And I mean, Striders, or Hoplites, rather, are the perfect unit for it. And there they go, shooting down those planes, too. Cheese balls. Oh, can we just dodge the commander? And it won't even matter. So much damage on that commander in just a second or so of firing. 60% HP left on cheese balls right now. Yeah, we're trying to fire away. Striders are so quick, though, they're impossible to catch. And they will manage to sneak on by. Now the solar panels are in a whole bunch of trouble. E-converters could chain react too, and those advanced solar panels could go down. Did we see those? No, we did not. We saw one E-converter, but if we manage to get the others, it could be a rough situation here. Yep, there we go. Boom, go the E-converters, chain reacting into the A-solars, popping 3 of the 5, 7, 8 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A third of the energy economy effectively down here for the blue commander. But you know what? It prompts him to reclaim his T1 solar panels. Maybe ultimately a good thing, actually. The phalanx here actually doing a great job. Lots of AoE damage on those bad boys, so they do wonderful against light, quick moving, but lightly armored units. Vanisher now joining the core here to start firing away. Obviously going to be fantastic here against any of these static defenses, but also some of these slower moving units. Not quite one-shotting the Hound, though, unfortunately. Thanatos have stopped their march of terror here. We do have an incinerator on the front. One of the hardest things about incinerators is keeping them from shooting your own units. I'm loving how much Legion we're getting a chance to look at today. That wasn't even my plan when going into this cast. I just noticed that Legion was on, so I You know, I mean, I won't lie. I always lean towards games with Legion enabled, but this one has actually turned into a Legion smackdown, more so than I would have expected. Team coordination here, an incinerator here now for the green commander, as we do have it just firing away at friendly units. Yeah, that is really the hardest part about those, is they're just so good at killing your own stuff. Gunslingers here. Everybody fighting. It's a brutal battle. Incinerator in green does go down. Arquebus continuing to fire away, trying to do as much damage as possible. Those Thanatos can only fire if they come around an about face here. Yeah, those Arquebus are doing a good job. Very high single point damage. There we go. Yeah, we need to stay out of range of that incinerator. Super, super high range on that incinerator. Enough to shut down these siege forces. You have to keep them so far back so that that laser pointer can't microwave you to death. And look at that. What a spectacular push. Traded out all the units for the enemy units, but also, of course, secure the wreckage field. And here come the Resbots. I love it. A commander that knows how to eat. That's what we like to see. This northern side has been semi-stabilized, I will say. The quick shots are actually putting in a lot of work right here. Gunships in the air, distracting a bunch of fire is always nice as well. Quick shots are kind of in a weird spot where they do a ton of damage and are very fast. Just like the Hoplite. Kind of a perfect counter in a weird sort of a way. Less of a perfect counter and more like a mirrored counter. A couple like Chimera have been set up here. We're also setting up a anti-air minigun, the Pluto. Which is cool to see. I love those AA guns, especially now that we've seen Shuriken consistently here. Look at the Chimera putting in work, though. Shutting down those quick shots before they have a chance. Beautiful stuff. A lot of friendly fire from the Thanatos here. Gotta be so careful with those rocket bots. They're an extremely powerful tool for a relatively modest price, I would say. Bunch of Wolverines going up against Mauser. I mean, it's T2 versus T1 in exactly the same role, so we would expect, obviously, the bigger army and of a higher tech value to win here. It's kind of a, you know, it's a little bit of a gambit, right? Because we don't know exactly what's going on over here, and we've waited long enough that the air forces can arrive. AA truck is in the mix right here. We had a few of them, but they were tightly clumped up, so it only took a couple of blasts to bring them down, and my goodness, this army has been ravaged. Thanatos firing over the hillside and into the green forces right here is just beautiful. And all of a sudden, the main fighting core, the main punch behind this composition here, the Mauser, has been severely limited. Cut down by probably 2/3. More Thanatos firing away. And from all sides as well. Doing tons of damage that way. Okay. Flak truck trying again to fight as hard as it can, but Thanatos have completely repulsed this attack. This was supposed to be a game winner here from the Green Commander. It was mismanaged and too clumped up. Meant that all of these different AoE sources got their maximum value, and all of a sudden, another several thousand metal dropped right on the doorstep here of the Tan Commander. Love the inclusion of the AA bot here, by the way. Very cool to see. It's a very wonky looking bot. It looks very unsteady. It's a very powerful tool, though. The Legion anti-air bot is far and away the best one out of all of the AA bots in the game. Features that rapid-fire anti-air minigun, and then, of course, a long-range railgun as well. Railguns for anti-air is sort of a novel concept, right? The idea of sending a projectile at Mach Jesus careening through the air towards a plane traveling just about as fast. Kind of a hilarious combo, honestly. Oh, nice. I love the Banishers here, too. That's another wonderful inclusion in this comp. Oh, the Tsar is a little bit rough. Tsar can definitely friendly fire pretty badly here. Won't happen this time, luckily, but it certainly could. Yeah, those quick shots are trying their best to get that Tsar to shoot at itself or its teammates. Seems like Twin Guards are actually pretty good against these quick shots here, luckily for the Yellow Commander. The Tsar will be the primary force leading the charge right here, though, so that's quite nice. Meanwhile, Resbot, oh, actually resurrecting. I think we'd probably rather reclaim all this. Just get that metal back in the bank account. Are we looking like we're ready for a little bit of T3, though? We have some decent eco-scaling back here. A little bit light, actually, on eco-scaling. Green Commander, again, has been contributing on the front line, which is really cool to see. Powder Blue Commander has been dealing with air, trying to get as many fighters and whatnot up and running, but we're a little bit behind on the eco-scaling. Like, we could do with probably 3 fusions at this point. Eat up all these T1 solar panels, just, you know, spend 2 minutes building all this into fusion reactors, a couple of T2E converters. You basically double your economy output just by shuffling all that metal back into proper T2 energy production. Bunch of fighters going down to anti-air out here in the midsection, though. T2 mexes have come up and online all over the place here for the Orange Commander. It's very cool to see. Gunships still all over the place. We do have a bunch of cons actually going down. Anti-air firing away wherever it can.
Battle paused.
Arquebus,
Battle
technically
started.
a kind of anti-air. Czar bringing the cannon around. It's so slow, but when it does connect, it's huge. Manages to land 2 money shots into the middle of this composition, killing a whole bunch of those Sheldon as well as all the radar and anti-jammer. Still, though, a couple of the Sheldon do survive, and the Striders are up and running as well. And again, that's thousands and thousands of metal lying on the front line here. T3, meanwhile, has hit the battlefield. We have gone for the cheapest T3 unit available here out of the Legion Laboratory. It's the Javelin Amphibious Raider. Has a little light anti-air gun. You can see just saturating the skies in anti-air fire. Not accurate, not high damage. It's a volume of fire weapon for sure. But hey, any kill you can get on the enemy air wall is well worth it. Of course, dealing a ton of damage to that air makes it easier and easier for your air player to engage. Always worth remembering anti-air in your ground compositions to help out your air player. And here we go. Javelin, I mean, identical to the Hoplite, right? They're the Hoplite, but on a bigger weapons platform. They just upgraded to the full metal jacket. They went for, you know, all out 50 caliber auto cannons. These are the big guns strapped onto the same sort of a chassis. Slightly heavier armor. STV-12. STV-12. Ooh, there we go. All right, D-gun is away. Catches 1, catches 2, catches 3. A 4th and a 5th will go down. Okay. A decent hit there to the composition, actually. Enough that I think this is winnable here. We do have the Dragon now heading out as well. And with the Arquebus for support, I think these Javelin will be cleaned up. Javelin not really too tough. They're very, very squishy. Just like Marauder, they're very fast and they're very flimsy. And indeed, they will be forced into full retreat. Now, they are working on this Dragon here, actually. I wouldn't want to keep the Dragon under their sustained fire. I think there's some pretty good work on it. Remember, this is 3,600 metal going up against 5,100 metal, so it's actually... I mean, if they manage to kill this Dragon, it's a good trade. Then again, one of them is down already, and that Dragon does not look like it's done biting. Spewing its flame all over these poor unfortunate souls. It will back off. Okay. I was worried we were going to throw the Dragon away there. I wouldn't have minded seeing fighters pull for that, even just to snipe it. Handful of fighters to snipe this would have obviously been well worth it. Do we have any APHIS coming up and running right here? Doesn't look like it. Everybody going for some fusion scaling right now. Oh, no, we do have a single APHIS, or a second APHIS, rather, being built here by Black Pearl, our air player here in orange, who is actually aggressively scaling right now, yeah. We do have a Dragon up and running here for the Orange Commander as well. With a fabulous economy, by the way, I will say, has sort of moved into these backlines here as commanders have tapped out and left the game. We have a T3 lab with 2 advanced fusions already churning out units. I wouldn't mind either of these two just being turned into an eco center. Black Pearl certainly stealing the show here, though. Requesting the air player doesn't eat this. This is... I mean, we all know where this is going. We've all been here.
Commander has died.
We'll see if Black Pearl is willing to listen, willing to accommodate the teammate, but it's not uncommon that that doesn't work. Sometimes you accidentally... sometimes you gotta eat a teammate's base before they can eat yours. Resbots come out, though. That should prevent this from acclaiming that. Yeah, okay, nicely done. Oh, okay, micros it away. Alright, nice. Very nice. Even says sorry in chat. Look at that. We've been having a look at a lot of toxicity in chat, gamers. But it's important to recognize some good sportsmanship as well. Okay. Dragons up and running for both of these teams. We are really doubling down here on the Javelins. My goodness, the solar economy is immense. Red Commander going for insane scaling on the solar panels. Double fusions here is not even enough, really. It's time to start eating these solar panels up and go for some APHIS here. I think it's probably 2 APHIS worth of metal. Yeah, almost. Closer to 1 APHIS worth of metal, but still. 3 fusion reactors, 5 fusion reactors in total, producing a bunch more energy, too. Means we can start pumping out some of those heavier units. And indeed, carries will be next up on the chopping block. Javelin, though, an excellent strike force, an excellent shock force. They're just not ideal on their own. They're absolutely a raiding unit, meant to catch the enemy by surprise in areas where their defenses are weakest, but that is a lot of arquebus. I'm pretty sure this is enough arquebus to start one-shotting these when all of them fire and volley. Not to mention the Thanatos, weakening these all up quite nicely. Yeah, there they go, chipping away at all this. Gunships as well in the air. Again, that is light anti-air they've got. It doesn't really do too much. Focusing that dragon down. Dragon will move away before it gets killed. Nice micro there. I love to see that. And hardly any of these gunships fall either. What a great trade. Yeah, Javelin not looking great right now. Certainly a couple of question marks on the Red Commander Prime Hybrid's mind. Wondering what on earth I'm supposed to do with those. Meanwhile, APHIS has started up. In fact, it's almost finished up here as it does come online. Huge boost to the energy economy here of the Red Commander, about 1.25x the energy all of a sudden coming out. Orange Commander could do with a little more E-scaling here as well. We do have some Sol Invictus coming out of the laboratory here. We also are almost done with that second APHIS. This has been in production for a good long while. The commander of the Black Pearl has been resurrected. I think that's probably supposed to go back to the tank commander here. Both teams wondering what to do to scale this game into an endgame scenario. Both teams a little shy on anti-nuke, I will say as well here. Big parts of the red and blue team are exposed to nuclear harassment. That's always something I'm wary of, because I always get nuked live on stream. Feel free to check that out every Saturday, 12 to 4 PDT, in case you want to come harass me and others as well with nuclear shenanigans. You're always welcome to give it a try. Works quite well on me a lot of the time. Oh, a little T1 lab coming up on the front. And we're going to go... Oh, okay, we're going for vehicle spam. Nice, okay. Going to be spamming out some of these good old-fashioned wheelies. Probably, I mean, quite possibly my favorite unit in the game. It's 2 wheels bolted together with a machine gun on top. You can't really ask for a whole lot more. That's kind of the ideal. That's the peak unit. I love these anti-air units kept underneath the air wall here, too. Thinning out that air force quite nicely here for the Powder Blue Commander is very, very nice. A decent economy right here, but the Powder Blue Commander is going up against a commander who inherited an extra base of T3 proportions. So this is never going to be a fair air fight right here. It's actually a little bit of a blunder right now that Orange isn't focusing more on air, because we could easily win the midsection of this game and just go for some killer attacks on 1, 2, 3, probably 4 or 5 of these base. Oh, dear Lord. It's got to be some kind of a... I mean, it's not... I've seen more, but it's beautiful, isn't it? I have to appease my curiosity. I have to know what it's worth. This monument to T1 engineering. 20,000 metal. That's 2 APHIS's worth of metal. 2 APHIS's producing 6,000 energy on their own. This monolith producing a whopping 2,600. So we're not even to the... we're 2 APHIS's deep on cost, and we're not even 1 APHIS in on energy production. Just wow. Orange Commander's getting a little bold here, by the way, as we do see now a little commander drop happening. Black Pearl apparently in a plane. Loads of AA bots included over here, not to mention the AA towers. Carving a bunch of this stuff apart. Well, this is not hard to snipe right now, though. This commander's virtually unescorted. Yeah, we got one T2 fighter. There we go. What was the play? I'm not entirely sure, really. Dragons overwhelming the static defenses here. We parked a nuclear bomb in the middle of our defenses, and of course, as soon as it blew up, so did everything else here. The Dragons being shot down, but they did their job. They broke this front line, opened the doors here, so now we can start to send in more and more forces. Fusion reactors are being scaled up right here by the Maroon Commanders. So that's quite nice. We have a shield generator coming up, curiously. There was no kind of like plasma harassment or anything, so it's very odd to see that. Heavy anti-air too. I don't want to push into that. Yeah, that's That's a rough spot to put your dragons in here. I think those need to go back and get repaired up. T2 fighters seeing if they can snipe one or two more of those here, but the AA bots are denying them that. Oh, there is an LRPC. Oh, I see. Okay, so that LRPC is firing away, popping some of that backline. I can see now why we've actually decided to go for the shield bubble. All right, fair enough. T3 over here accomplishing very little, actually, I would say. We are melting down the Mammoth. Man, look how the Mammoth stands against all that T3. Doesn't even care. Doesn't even care. T3 being very cautious here. Carries are particularly strong for their cost to health ratio. Is extremely high. Basically their major superpower is just that they cost a low amount of metal for how much HP you get out of them. Looks like we're doing a little bit of plane shenanigans here as we do go into some of these Phoenix circling around like crows around a corpse, hoping for some juicy connections. 47,000 build cost is gigantic. Little radar plane included in here as well. Lovely stuff. Yeah, Red Commander looking to take over air superiority here, recognizing that there actually has been very little air this entire time. Blue Commander is scaling. I mean, this is Fusion Reactor scaling, so it's a little bit slower than the APHIS scaling. And the Orange Commander hasn't really been scaling either. I mean, we've been focused on both air and land forces. Now the Sol Invictus finally makes it to the front line here, meaning the Dragons have that ground support that they need quite desperately. Your T2 fighters will sweep them away, though. And I think the era of the Dragon is gone, but nicely replaced right here by, of course, this giant piece of Legion engineering, firing double heat rays and rapid-fire plasma cannons out of both arms into the enemy's face. It's the best place for your plasma to go. I'll change the subject at this point here. I'm a little bit sad to see this composition has stopped at carries and javelin. I mean, we still have the T3 lab, so we can go for some of the other stuff. I'll go ahead and shut this off for a second. There's the Praetorian, which is really quite nice, and the Myrmidon is a popular choice as well, but my personal favorite is going to be the Daedalus. Fires a 3-round burst of rail cannon. Very, very good. Excellent tank breaker. Where is our Sol Invictus gone? Oh, it's kind of backed off now. A little bit odd. Sol Invictus should have basically just pushed for the base here. The commander is already dead, so there's no reason to worry about over here. Spam units are making their way through as well, so they're going to start chipping away at these bases if that flow is not quelled. Gunships moving in to try and stop that. I mean, Maus are trying their very best here, but they're not exactly a precision weapon either. Not precise enough, anyways, to deal with the spam running towards them. Now the Sol Invictus' heat ray beams get involved. Is that... Okay. See you in 221 minutes when that's finished up. Sol Invictus here a little bit confused, trying to fire away, mis-targeting ever so slightly. Heat ray beams are very difficult, okay? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here this time, Sol Invictus. Deserves to send him a shot, though, because this thing is beautiful. Just kind of the way that its arms all move around and fire. This little heat ray backpack and that beautiful mask that it wears as well as its high heels. It's just a thing of beauty. Heavy bombers trying to shut some of this down. Meanwhile, heavy bombers coming up on the northern side as well. Phoenix are, I mean, kind of a weird sort of a bomber, but they are effectively a heavy bomber. They're a strafing bomber. A lot of room for them to find some work here, though. Tons and tons and tons of targets right now. We can sweep across this and clean out a huge ball of forces. It's beautiful. Oh, the carnage. The Phoenix cleaning up that entire army here of green forces suddenly on a tear towards the back line. APHIS will be the primary target, of course, as we change direction to drop that heat ray beam directly on top of that big glass ball of plasma. Cheese balls losing it all right there as the Phoenix find their target. Another one. Oh, a juicy connection as well for these Phoenix. Barely managing to, but managing to nonetheless kill the fusion reactor over on the southern side. A bunch of Infernos have been produced. Talk about a unit that has fallen off. This unit fell from grace. It used to be a consistent fire unit. It was very similar to the Tremor. There they are. It's big brother, the Tremor. And the Inferno used to be a lot like that. Doesn't really work that way anymore, unfortunately. Makes it a lot less popular. Can't have all the best units, though. And it looks like with that bombing run, coupled with the eco-scaling, our red team are going to be the ones that pull off the victory. What a beautiful showcase of some Legion versus Core versus ARM shenanigans.
Battle ended.
And an absolutely spectacular bombing run with those Phoenixes. Watching those glass that entire army is exactly what I like to see out of those Phoenixes. They're so stinking cool, man. Thanks a ton for watching, and I sure hope you enjoyed this. Much more of a Legion showcase than I really expected it to be. And I sure hope to see you again in the very next video of Beyond Our Reason. Peace out, everybody.